We are 2 weeks away from opening day in Japan. All 12 teams take the field on Friday, March 26th for the 72nd season of NPB. In case you missed it, I put up my preview for Central League a few days ago. Be sure to check that out. Today I'll be talking about the 6 teams of Pacific League, the one that uses the DH, the one that's more spread out throughout the country, and the one that has dominated the past decade. Before I go into that, let me run through some general information about the 2021 season, in case you didn't see it in the Central League video. This year, NPB is going back to the normal schedule and format, 143 games, including interleague play from May 25th to June 13th. 6 teams reach the postseason, 3 from each league, and the All-Star Series will take place on Friday, July 16th at the MetLife Dome, and on Saturday, July 17th at Rakuten Eagles Park. There will be a 4-week break for the Olympics from the All-Star break to August 12th, so the season will run well into November once again. The regular season goes until the end of October. Japan Series is scheduled to begin on November 13th. These are the final 2020 standings. Softbank Hawks were first, Marines were way back in second, followed by Lions, Eagles, Fighters, and Buffaloes. Only 2 teams qualified for the postseason last year. Hawks swept the Marines in 2, then went on to the Japan Series and swept the Giants in 4. This year, 3 teams will qualify for the postseason. I'll present these teams in the order I believe they'll finish in the standings. At the top, as usual, is the Softbank Hawks. The Hawks have won 4 straight Japan Series titles. The last 2 were 4-game sweeps over the Giants. None of those games were even close last year. The Hawks have almost everything coming back from that championship team, so they are the clear favorites to win a 5th straight title in 2021. The ace is back. Kodai Senga had Pacific League's best ERA at 2.16 and tied for the league lead in wins, 11, and strikeouts, 149. He could likely be the ace for a major league team if the Hawks would ever let him go. Shuta Ishikawa also won 11 games, ERA 2.42. Now Higashihama won 9 games, ERA 2.34. And Tsuyoshi Wada was an 8-game winner, ERA 2.94. So they have 4 pitchers with an ERA under 3, the best rotation in all of NPB. Last year they allowed the fewest runs of any team, by far. There was a 5th starting pitcher with a sub-3 ERA, that was Matt Moore. He's back in MLB now. Also, Wada is 39 now, so his ERA may go north of 3 soon. So their starting rotation won't be as dominant this year, but probably still the best in Pacific League, and one of the best bullpens too. Cuban reliever Levan Moanello led the league with 38 holds, ERA 1.69 in 50 appearances. Yuito Mori was second in saves with 32, ERA of 2.28 in 52 appearances. Rei Takahashi had 23 holds, ranking 3rd in Pacific League, 52 appearances, 2.65 ERA. And to go along with that dominant pitching, they had the league's 2nd highest scoring offense, led by reigning Pacific League MVP Yuki Yanagita, a 342 batter, 449 on base, 623 slugging, 29 home runs, and a gold glove. 25-year-old infielder Ukyo Shuto led the league with 50 stolen bases in just 103 games. Yurispel Gracial hit 10 home runs in 69 games. He joined the team late because he was in Cuba and couldn't get a flight out. Also stuck in Cuba was DH Alfredo Despaigne. In 2019 he hit 36 home runs. Last year, joining the team at mid-season, he struggled, but 6 home runs in 25 games is still a pretty good average. Because their pitching won't be as dominant this year, the Hawks won't be as good as they were last year. They'll still top the Pacific League standings, but it might take them 6 games this time to take care of the Giants in the Japan Series. The Rakuten Eagles were 4th place last year, 16.5 behind the Hawks, but only 2.5 behind the Marines for that final spot in the postseason. The Eagles were powered by an offense that scored more runs than any other team. Second baseman Hideto Asamura led all of NPB with 32 home runs. He is back, but their other big slugger, Stephen Romero, is no longer with the team. A pair of good infielders returned. Eigoro Mogi had a 396 on-base percentage last year, while Gold Glove-winning third baseman Daichi Suzuki got on base at 363. The Eagles' pitching staff ranked 4th in runs allowed, but they get a huge boost with the signing of Masahiro Tanaka. He'll lead the rotation after another strong year on the mound for the New York Yankees. Hideaki Wakui was their ace last year. 11 wins tied for the league lead, and a 3.60 ERA was 4th best. The bullpen is reliable. Kazuhisa Makita threw 52 games in relief with 22 holds and a 2.16 ERA. Alan Busenitz made 46 appearances, 18 saves, 13 holds, ERA at 2.86. And Yuki Matsui came out 25 times, 3.18 ERA, and 10.9 strikeouts per 9 innings. Offensively, the Eagles will still be great, though the departure of Romero hurts a little. And pitching gets much better with the addition of Tanaka, enough to lift the team from 4th to 2nd. The Seibu Lions topped the regular season standings in 2018 and 19, but lost to the Softbank Hawks in the Climax Series both times. In 2020 they took a big step back. finishing third, 15.5 behind the Hawks, a game and a half behind the Marines, and missing the postseason. The team's disappointing finish can be explained by a number of individual disappointments. Hotaka Yamakawa led the team with 24 home runs, but that was way down from the 43 he hit the year before. Slugging was .540 in 2019, .450 last year. Tomiya Mori slashed .251, .325, .380 with 9 home runs. 2 years ago it was .329, .413, .547 with 23 home runs. Zach Neal was a disappointment on the mound. 6 wins, 8 losses, ERA .522. The year before he was 12-1, ERA .287. The Lions will be hoping that at least one of these guys can get back to their 2019 numbers. 28-year-old second baseman Sosuke Genda did not disappoint, stealing 18 bases and winning his 3rd straight Gold Glove. Corey Spangenberg hit 15 home runs and stole 12 bases. For pitching, they'll have Kona Takahashi, who is 8-8 with a .374 ERA. Tatsushi Masuda was the league leader in saves with 33, ERA .202 and 48 relief appearances. Pacific League Rookie of the Year Kaima Taira held a .187 ERA in 54 games. 33 holds was the second highest total in Pacific League. Yosuke Moriwaki had a .135 ERA in 47 appearances, winning 7 games and recording 16 holds. So the Lions' bullpen was really good, but the starting rotation was awful, resulting in the most runs allowed in Pacific League. The offense was average, 4th in runs scored, but they were expected to be one of the highest scoring. But even after all that underperformance, they still almost made it to the postseason. I don't expect Yamakawa, Mori, and Neal to all have comeback seasons, but I expect 1 or 2 of them will, and that will be enough to get them back to the postseason. The Chiba Lotte Marines beat out the Lions and Eagles for a second-place finish and a trip to the postseason. Their postseason didn't last long though, beaten twice in a best-of-3 series with the Hawks. This was a good team all around, even though they didn't have any big names in their lineup. They were 5th out of the 6 Pacific League teams in runs scored. Leonis Martin led the offense with a .382 on-base percentage and 25 home runs. Seiya Inoue got on base at .356 and added 15 home runs. No major additions to or departures from the Marine offense. Pitching was the team's strength in 2020, allowing the second fewest runs. 10-game winner Manabu Mima is the ace of the staff, ERA at .395 last year. Kota Futaki won 9 games while registering a .340 ERA. Ayumu Ishikawa had a .425 ERA and a winning record. In the bullpen, Naoya Masuda was 3rd in Pacific League in saves with 31, just 2 behind the league leader, .225 ERA in 54 appearances. Frank Herman had a .215 ERA in 38 relief appearances, with 23 holds. This team will be good again. I don't see them getting better or worse. They'll contend for a postseason spot again, but this time they'll just miss it. The Orix Buffaloes finished the 2020 season in last place. 23 games under 500, 27 games out of first, 7 games behind the next worst team. This was not unusual for the Buffaloes. They're used to finishing at or near the bottom. They haven't reached the postseason since 2014. Poor hitting was mostly to blame. The Buffaloes were last in runs scored in Pacific League, even though they had the batting champion. Masataka Yoshida led all of NPB with a .350 average, second in on-base percentage at .453. And he's got some power. He hit 14 home runs. But they didn't have any hitters with a lot of power. Takahiro Okada was the team leader in home runs with only 16. Adam Jones added 12. He was a bit disappointing in his first NPB season. Maybe he'll improve those numbers in his sophomore season. But even if he doesn't, the Buffaloes will have some power coming to their lineup. Stephen Romero returns after spending 1 year with the Eagles, where he hit 24 home runs last year. So if Romero and Yoshida did what they did last year, and Jones can turn things around, they could be much better offensively. Pitching was pretty good. They allowed the 3rd fewest runs in the league. 22-year-old ace Yoshinobu Yamamoto won 8 games a year ago. He'll win a few more with an improved offense. His 149 strikeouts was tied for 1st in Pacific League, while his .220 ERA ranked 2nd. Daiki Tajima started 20 games, ERA at .405. Brandon Dixon picked up 16 saves and 39 relief appearances, ERA .328. Tyler Higgins came out 41 times and recorded 19 holds, ERA .240. So the pitching was decent last year, and all their pitchers are back. Hitting was to blame for their misery, but it should be a lot better this year. That'll be enough to get them out of last place, but they are still one big signing, or a few little signings, away from being a postseason team. And now we've reached the bottom. The Hokkaido Nippon Ham Fighters ended last year in 5th place. 20 games out of first, 6 games out of a postseason slot. Not the worst team, but with the big names in their lineup, they should have expected to finish higher. Sho Nakata hit 31 homers, the second highest home run total in the league. Kensuke Kondo had the league's highest on-base percentage at .465, also batted .340 and hit 31 doubles. Haruki Nishikawa also maintained a really high on-base percentage at .430 and stole 42 bases, ranking second. The rest of the lineup didn't hit so well, but with the help of those three batters, the Fighters were third in Pacific League in runs scored. In runs allowed, they ranked fifth out of the 6 teams, and that was with one of the league's best starting pitchers. Kohei Arihara had the third best ERA in the league as the ace of the Fighters. He is now with the Texas Rangers, and without a good replacement for him, the Fighters will most likely give up more runs than any other team. Their best remaining pitcher is Naoyuki Uwasawa, 8 wins and a .306 ERA last year. 2 other pitchers put up very similar numbers to that. Drew Verhagen also won 8 games, ERA .322. Toshihiro Sugiura was 7-5, ERA .313. In the bullpen, Naoki Miyanishi appeared 50 times with 21 holds and a .205 ERA. Taisho Tamai also picked up 21 holds in 49 games, but ERA was up at .346. The Fighters have some good hitters, which will make them fun to watch, but losing the best pitcher from a team that already had bad overall pitching will be enough to make them fall to last. In summary, the Hawks will be less dominant than they were a year ago, but still good enough to win another Pacific League title and the Japan Series. The Eagles just missed out on the postseason last year, and they made the biggest off-season signing, one that will propel them into second place. Lions also narrowly missed the postseason. They'll get a rebound from 1 or 2 of their players to keep them in third. Marines will battle the Lions for third, but fall short in the end. Buffaloes will be better, but they've still got a long ways to go. Fighters will become the worst pitching team, and consequently, last in the standings. And that's it. Let me know if I missed anything. Comment who you think is going to win the Japan Series this year. That's all for this one, and until next time, this is Baseball International. See ya!